Hey, welcome to Noah Fast Friday. I am Chef Brandy, joined by
Reverend Cherie. Hello, happy Friday.
yes, indeed. Today, guys, we're going to talk about fresh starts.
Fresh
Fresh
starts.
starts. But before we get into that, I guess we should introduce ourselves, right?
Yeah, we should. As always.
As
There's
always.
at least one person who does not know who we are. There's
Yeah,
a new viewer. And so we
exactly.
want to make sure you know who we are and what we're about.
Yes. So, we are the co-creators of the Noah Fast. And what is the Noah Fast? The Noah Fast is a plant forward fast that helps you to make room for more of what it is you're here to do in this life.
I like that. That's real simple. And we use the story of Noah, the biblical story of Noah, as a framework for this fast. So, all the main elements that you know of that story, the water, the rainbow, those are two main elements of the story of Noah. And that is two main components of the Noah fast. We're telling you to flood your body with water. There was a flood in the Noah story. We want you to flood your body with a gallon of water a day. And the rainbow, we want you to eat the rainbow. We want you to eat plant-based foods in the full color spectrum. Eat some green vegetables and fruits, blue, orange, yellow, purple, whatever colors, naturally colored foods. We don't want artificially covered food. So that is what the Noah fast is about in a nutshell. In a nutshell.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
And we want to talk about fresh starts. I was talking to Brandy, and I was like, you know what? When you read the story of Noah, um, there's so much in it, right? And I realized that the Noah story really is about a fresh start. Like from the beginning, really, God needed a fresh start. God looked at humanity and was like, humanity, the world is wicked, and I'm just going to start. I need a clean slate. He preserved the remnant of Noah with Noah's family. So there were 8 people who were saved. Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives were saved. 2 of every animal was saved. But God was like, I need a fresh start. And then for Noah and his family, it was a fresh start for them too. And so we're at the beginning of the year, Brandy, and most people are like, you know, I need a clean slate. We're being reflective over the last year
Mhm.
and thinking of like, what do I need to do differently? And people are like really uh, committed right now to like getting a fresh start, doing something different, expecting something different. And so I thought it would be great to kind of look at the Noah story from that perspective of getting a fresh start. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I like this conversation because I think a lot of times, especially when we want to start something, we don't give ourselves enough of a runway to actually be successful at it,
Mhm.
right? So starting the decision to start something takes that's one step, and then like the second step is the actual prep work to make sure that you stay accountable. Like a lot of times this time of year, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat more healthy. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do all this stuff," right? Cool. So if I say on J1, January 1st, I'm gonna eat healthy, but I still have, and I'm gonna say random stuff, ho hos, which I don't know if people even buy those, but if I have ho hos in the house,
So you got all the junk food, all this
yeah,
processed food,
all this stuff,
having it.
it's gonna be really challenging for you to do that. So it's like give yourself like that space, and like you're talking similar to the Noah story, right? Like Noah was building an ark. Like Noah had to go get some wood, some nails, I'm sure. Like he had to get the materials to actually build that. It wasn't just like, okay, God told me to build the ark. Okay, cool. I just happen to have all the things I need in this moment to build this thing.
Right.
That's not how it is. That's not how it was.
Exactly. And like you said, like everything takes preparation, right? And so, I mean, you're a chef. And so even with someone saying I want to eat healthier, generally that's going to require you to make a grocery list, go out to the store and buy healthier stuff. Maybe even before you do that, you do research. Maybe you buy the Noah Fast book. Maybe you use the recipes in there, like get my list together so that I can go out and buy the healthier foods and come back and follow the recipes to eat healthier. And the same thing when you look at this story, this biblical story, even God, when God decided that he was going to get a fresh start, he prepped Noah, saying, "This is what I'm going to do, but this is what I want you to do."
Mhm.
In preparation, right? So to your point, yeah, he had to get wood, but guess what? It wasn't a Home Depot in those days.
Right.
So he had to cut down some trees. He had to like make wood, right? Um, fashion, cut down the trees and fashion it into wood planks to build this ark.
Mhm.
And so you think about oftentimes when we say we want a fresh start, I don't think we one, like you said, we don't give ourselves the runway, the time and the prep time to get it done, to make that happen. But I also feel like we don't always prepare ourselves energetically.
Mhm.
Like, think that was work, right?
Yes.
I
Before
need
the
to get
work even
my
started.
energy up. I
Yeah.
need to get my mind right. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of things that have to be done before you just get up, get this fresh start. People love to be like, yeah, I'm just cutting off all the toxic people. I'm just gonna, all that. And it's great, but it's not so simple. It's not always easily done where it's like, okay, I'm just not gonna answer their calls. I'm not gonna call them. It
Yeah.
could take
Right. What if that
some
toxic person
right.
is your boss? Like, for real. Like, what? No, like, that's real. Like, and you don't have any other source of income. You can't just be like, I'm out. Like,
I'm
you
out.
can't. I'm
Right.
out. You can't.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. So you gotta be realistic about this stuff.
It's true, and I think we have to really prepare for whatever this fresh start is. Really think it through. Get all of your resources together. Whatever it is that you need for this fresh start, you got to really think about that and prepare yourself um for the toll it may take on you, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual toll that taking this fresh start is going to have on you. Because as much as it may be good for you and you're going to feel refreshed, there's still a cost to be paid, right? And so it's like I just keep going back to it with Noah, thinking about all of what it took, one, to build the ark. Now let's say, okay, the ark is built, his family has to get on this ark. They have to leave behind everyone, right? And so what that feels like for those of us who are saying, we're cutting off those toxic relationships or those people, places, and things that no longer serve us. How do you sever ties? What are the steps that you have to take to sever ties, and do it in a non-toxic way? Because a lot of times people want to say like, oh yeah, I'm cutting these toxic people, but you're toxic in how you handle that process. Like, it doesn't have to be nasty and malicious. It could, can you work through how to have those conversations, or what does that extraction process look like for
Yes.
you in a way where you're not um like scorching the earth because you've decided that you're making changes and shifting in some way.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because remember, whenever you have a fresh start, you're building. Like, you're starting something that you're building on. So you don't want to build from a place that doesn't serve the next version of your journey. And I think it's important too, when we do start over, that we have to give ourselves the room to like kind of evolve and change, and understand that through that process something else is going to, like, we're creating something new, something else. It's not going to necessarily look like what it looked like before. And getting comfortable with the fact that the fresh and new stuff, it brings new things in, but it also leaves some things behind. And that can be kind of a lot to I think just kind of manage mentally, right? And that's why it's so important to get that mindset solid before you take those steps.
True. And I love when you said, you get a fresh start. Like, there's a foundation, you're building on a foundation. And I feel like we have to build on betterment, not building on bitterness, right? So we're building on better, not building on bitter, right? And so whatever that process is for you, it has to be, you're starting from a better place, not from a bitter place. And so, yeah, I think, and I'm wondering if there's anybody who's out there, comment, let us know you're out there. But what does your fresh start look like? What does that process look like for you? How do you start fresh? How do you leave behind some old things and press forward for some new things, some better things, some different things? What does that look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see. We'll
Yeah.
write that down later too. Build on bitterness, not on bitterness.
Yes.
You always gotta have an alliteration.
Oh, always. Trust and believe in alliteration or an acronym is like without that, life is not it's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The
I
process.
want to go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that one of the biggest things with the process is environment. I don't think we take into consideration oftentimes how much value or how much power environment plays in our ability to make these changes and these starts. And just take, for instance, just a simple thing, eating healthy or working out. You can't be in environments that don't support that and actually be successful with that particular, especially when you're new, when it's fresh. It's different when you're seasoned, you've been in it for a while, right? But when you first start, if you hanging around people who ain't working out, but you want to work out, and every time it's like, oh, we gonna work out after work. 4 people at the job beside. We gonna work out after work. Okay, cool, right? Everybody's down. But that if 3 out of the 3 people like, you know what? No, let's just go to happy hour.
Right.
And the only one that's like trying to go, it's gonna be challenging for you to stick to that. But if you're around people and environments that are like, no, we're gonna stick to it, it's easy. So I think that I know we swear that we can do things on our own or like with, we're not influenced by people, it doesn't matter. But those environments make a big difference.
It's true. It's true. That's something really important. Right, because you're influenced by your environment, but also I think we all, if you you also have to make a decision. Are you going to be the person who establishes the culture in your environment, or are you always the person who just goes with the flow of whatever's happening in the environment, right? So it's like they say you can choose to be a thermostat or a thermometer, right? So you've heard that before, right? So it's like if you're a thermometer just takes the temperature in the room. It just reflects whatever the temperature is in the room. It doesn't adjust it. Whereas a thermostat, you can adjust the temperature in the room. And so you have to make a decision about, are you in an environment where you feel confident to shift the climate in your environment? Is it a place where you can begin to make some healthier adjustments, in your environment? Because it's just like you said earlier, people say, oh, I'm going to cut off all my toxic relationships, but if that's your boss, then it's not so cut and dry. And so can we start assessing our environments, assessing everything and seeing where we can make incremental changes, where it can be a healthier place for us to be, where it can potentially be the foundation for a fresh start.
Mm-hmm. And a long-term sustainable fresh start, right? That you don't have to keep kick-starting. Which is, but it's fine. Like
the important word, sustainability.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of times, and that's not like I think that's important too. Like it's okay to have to like stop and start, right? But stop and start meaning you can fall off for like a day and get back on the wagon, right? But not like you just go all the way off course and have to just keep redirecting. If that's your experience, then you really do have to ask yourself, how can I improve this process so that that's not my reality going forward? Yeah.
I like that. That's one of your words, sustainability. He's all about sustainability.
All around.
I love that. I wanted to read an excerpt from our book on page 4. If you have the paperback version, and the page numbers may be the same in the ebook. I can't remember. But when and I always say this to Brandy every time I read the introduction, I'm like, girl, we did a good job. So I'm always going to just hype ourselves up because we worked really hard to put this book together, to create this fast. And every time I read it, I'm just like, ooh, We said something.
Yeah.
And in the overview of the book, there's a section called The Call. And it says, in the midst of a world consumed with violence and wickedness, God found one man who was righteous and blameless. Noah walked with God and found grace in the eyes of the Lord. God spoke to Noah and told him that the earth and all of humankind would be destroyed in a great flood. Noah and his family would be saved by taking refuge in an ark that Noah would build himself. Noah heeded the divine call on his life and did exactly as God instructed him. How outrageous! There had never been such a natural disaster like a flood before, and yet here is Noah preparing for such an event. He must have looked ridiculous to everyone who passed by him as he built the ark. Yet Noah was obedient in spite of public ridicule and mocking. We all have a great calling on our lives. In order to hear God's call clearly, we may need to quiet the noise around and within us. To muster the courage to answer God's call requires prayer, faith, and obedience.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that, like to answer God's call. And all of us, God is calling everyone to do something, right? God has given all of us gifts, talents, and abilities. And all of what we have, all of what we know, and all of what we are able to do is not meant for us to keep it for our sole enjoyment. We're not supposed to, God did not call us to be a hoarder, right? We're not called to be a hoarder of our talents, of our gifts, and our abilities. God calls us, has gifted us with all of this so that we would share it with the world, right? And so there's a calling on every single one of us to use our abilities to help others, to build up other people. And so this call requires, answering God's call requires prayer, faith, and obedience. We have to be in prayer, be in conversations with God to understand what God is calling us to do and how God is calling us to do it. And that was definitely Noah, right? He had to have a his ear really tuned in to hear God's voice. And that's being in prayer on a regular basis to hear what God is saying to us, right? And then it's like it also requires faith because faith is what does it say? Is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so it's like other people may not get it, right? So whatever God is calling you to do, oftentimes we're looking for other people to validate it and affirm it, but God didn't call them. God called you.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes you may have people who will help you discern your call, will be encouraging and supportive. But at the end of the day, if you know God called you to do something, you have to stand on your faith. Like, yeah, it may seem crazy, it may seem out of the box, but I know this is what God has called me to do. And then it requires obedience. Obedience, we have to obey what God has called us to do. And obedience is hard. It is really difficult. Like Noah being obedient required him to look foolish in the eyes of other people. And it's like sometimes I have to like I'm gonna be obedient to what I know I'm supposed to do, despite what it costs me. It may cost my pride.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be costly in some way. But those are three things that are required in order for us to really answer our call, live into whatever call God has put on our lives.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a whole lot.
I wasn't trying to preach today, but I really felt led to look at this in terms of like this fresh start. It's January, y'all. It's January. It's the first month of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has made their declarations of some sort about what this year is going to look like. We are calling on you to make this 2020 more, right? We're making room for more in 2024. And we want you to use the Noah fast to help you kickstart this year. If you're looking for a fresh start, if you're trying to figure it out, and this Noah fast is not just about the eating. It's not just about food,
Mm.
but having a healthier diet definitely. And Brandy, you could talk more about it in terms of the health benefits that there are to like eating a plant-based diet, having a healthier diet, having drinking more water, all of what that like how does that impact us, not just physically, but in so many other areas of our life?
Yeah, I mean, and not always say like we don't have to make an argument for like an apple's gonna fuel your body better than a bag of chips, right? For for many reasons, like the apple has phytonutrients, it has minerals, it has fiber, it has water, it has all the things that we need to activate ourselves. It even has sugar, something that a lot of us are working to get away from. But sugar turns to glucose, which is literally the energy that requires our cells to function, right? And so when we eat better, we show up better for ourselves. We're more clear, right? Food is a drug in real life. Like it's either going to be a drug in a good way or it's going to be a drug in a bad way. Just like how, you can, in the West, we are a lot more, no, in the East, medicine is a lot more focused on like food. So it's like, oh, we actually eat things, we cure ourselves with food versus here, we use we use food to make synthetic medicine. It's a very interesting process that we do here. Like if you look at a lot of the drugs that exist on the market, they're based in some type of natural plant source. Like that's the base, and they build on it. So if we use what's already here, it literally prepares us to receive what it is God's asking from us. But I'm a big proponent as when you feel good, you do good, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm gonna tell you right now,
when you feel bad, sometimes you do
lay
that, right?
around,
It's like
yeah.
it's like misery loves company kind
It
of.
does. And I want to build on what you were saying too earlier about what do you call like the fresh start, and like it's 2024, you want to make you. And I know the last time I had brought up that it's also year of the dragon, right? And a lot of times you think about dragons are, they breathe fire, right? And fire, even though we look at it as something that's very destructive, fire is also something that literally allows for a fresh start. And we think about these forest fires that people have. People are always very much, oh my God, these forest fires are so bad. Don't get me wrong, it's horrible when people like lob like houses and all that stuff is in the midst of it. But the activity or the action of things being burnt down is part of allowing things to rebuild, to clean out and make a fresh start. Like if you know anything about like farming or like crops, there are times where like when crops aren't producing, those farmers, unfortunately, because that's their money, like they have to burn everything down to build it back up. So in addition to like, yes, 2024 more like the ramen there, that's cool. Like if you look at another side of it with the dragon and pushing fire through, like this really, like we're literally providing ourselves like this fertile ground to build more on in this year. And we're only 12 days in. So like we're
only 12 days in. So for those people who had their, their resolution or was making their declaration, you feel like you just kind of already lost momentum. It's only day 12.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, you New Year's whenever you want it to be. I also want us to stop waiting to make change in our lives based off of some calendar. You don't celebrate your mother because it's Mother's Day. You don't only celebrate your father because it's Father's Day. You don't only give out love things to your partner because it's Valentine's Day. It's like, no, like this is not how this is meant to work. And I think that's another thing that at least I would like to see more of in this, like going forward in this season. And like because I feel like we put all this pressure on ourselves based on like what you're saying. Like Noah was out here building this ark looking crazy because people was like, dude, what are you? I'm sure they were like, I wasn't there, but I'm sure they was like, dude,
you're ready for a flood and it's like drought.
It's a drought. What are you doing, right? And that happens all the time. A lot of times society, the things around us kind of influence how we move versus knowing what it is we're supposed to do and then deciding we're going to do it when we want to do it, not because other people or systems said that we should do it.
Right. It's like, you don't always have to follow a trend. You can set the trend.
Yeah. They in this society, right? All the tech companies, what do they call them? Disruptors, right? Uber disrupted the system, right?
Right. I like that. It's disruptor or an innovator. There's all kinds of words. They all mean the same thing. Yeah, but I really think we need to strongly consider that. And the Noah fast, for those of you who are just joining us, this book, we co-wrote it, but we firmly believe in it. We use all the aspects of it. I love this book so much because we said this before, like one of my favorite things I like about the Noah fast is that you can either do all aspects of it and just be full throttle with every component, but we built this fast so that you can choose. You could just, you could choose to just do one part of the fast, right? And so there's the food component. We have recipes. Chef Brandy made some fantastic recipes, very easy to follow recipes in this book. And if you're saying like, for this year, your New Year's resolution or your declaration for the year is that you're going to eat healthier, you want to, have more plant-based meals, then you could just do that aspect of the Noah fast. But if you're a person who's like, I need to drink more water, I drink too much soda, you could just do that, because guess what? There are water recipes in the book as well. But if you're a person who's like, I really want to, develop a closer relationship with God, we have the Making Room moments. There's a devotional every week. There's a devotional reflection on the story of Noah. So we're doing a slow walk through the story of Noah. You can read that. We give you journaling prompts to have you be reflective on what your call, all the things. It's focusing, it's reflective of for you in mind and body and in spirit. So whatever you're looking for, there's something, I think, for everyone in this Noah fast. So you can go to the noahfast.com, get all the information. You can get the link to purchase our book. It is available on Amazon, so you can purchase the Noah fast both as an ebook and hard copy, paperback. That's available on Amazon. You can join our private Facebook group, the Noah Fast Facebook group, and be a part of a community. We support each other. If you want to check in, if you have questions about certain things in the book as a part of the fast, we are accessible through the Facebook group. We want you to join us, because guess what? In February, we are launching our global Noah fast, right? So we're going to be doing the Noah fast as a group. And we did it the first time in 2023. We had a group of 40 people who joined us for our maiden voyage. And now we're embarking on another voyage for the Lenten season. So for those of you who observe Lent, and even if you don't observe Lent, you can do this fast with us. We are starting on February 12th, which is the Monday. Lent, which starts on Ash Wednesday, is Valentine's Day, actually. Right. But speaking to what you said earlier in terms of giving yourself a runway, we want to give you a runway to get into the Lenten season. So we're starting on February 12th, that Monday. And so we want you to go. We haven't yet released the registration information, but if you go onto the noahfast.com, you can sign up to be on our email list and you will get that information. But we are going live every Friday for Noah Fast Friday, to keep checking in, to keep sharing with you. We want to share little tidbits of the Noah Fast to whet your appetite, pun intended, to whet your appetite, so that you will want to be a part of the Noah Fast family. If you haven't already purchased the book, you need to purchase the book. It's an investment in your health, and not just your physical health, but your spiritual health as well. And we want you to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit. So if you haven't already done so, go purchase the book. If there are any of our Noah Fast friends out there, we want you to invite others to be a part of the community. Encourage others to purchase the book, to be a part of our global fast, which will be on February 12th. Is there anything else you want to share, Brandy?
No, I don't think I could follow that.
was in my bag
You
today.
was all the way in it.
Yesterday, like, yo, this is what I want to talk about. Because I've been really thinking about, like, we need to talk about Noah.
Yeah.
Like the name of the fast, the namesake of the fast. I really want to, and I want to expand people's mind about the Noah story when you think about it. So why not go back, look in Genesis chapter 6, that's where the story starts, and start thinking about reading it from the perspective of what a fresh start looks like. But there's costs to it. There's a cost. Any fresh start you want to take, it requires preparation, but then it requires maintenance, right? So that's that sustainability part. It requires some maintenance. So we want to encourage you all to make room this year. There's so much more God has for you. God is calling all of us to do so much more than what we are doing. There's so much more in store. I'm just believing that God is going to pour out blessings on us that we don't have room enough to receive. Honestly and truly, that's what my prayer is, that I want to make room for more in 2024 because I'm excited about what God has in store for us. Yeah.
All right, guys. That's it.
That was a lot.
That was more than what we expected.
That was right. I made room for more on this note. That was a lot. But I'm hoping you guys receive it and check back in with us. Let us know how are things going for you? What is God doing? How are you seeing more happening for you this year? What are you looking for this year? And what preparation are you making for your fresh start? We want to hear from you. So check in with us, post on the Noah Fast group, comment in this chat. Let us know what your process is looking like. How are you making room for more in 2024? And we want you guys to have a fantastic weekend. It's a 3-day weekend for some of us. MLK, I had a dream. Dr. King had a dream. Listen, so that means he had a dream. If you're off on Monday, you can sleep longer and dream a little bit longer. When you wake up, make some of these dreams a reality. Don't just stay in dream state. Make some moves. All right. Guys, you have a good weekend.
Yeah, same. Until next time, everybody. Mic drop.
Love you. Right.